The 24 Hours of Le Mans is the world's most famous sports car endurance race, and it's held annually at the Circuit de la Sarthe near Le Mans in France. It's from this circuit that many cars have gone on to become iconic brands: Ferrari, Porsche, Bentley, Mercedes and Ford, to name but a few. The first race was held on May the 26th and 27th in 1923 and has been run as an annual event ever since. The 1960s were arguably one of the most popular decades, with a war between Ford and Ferrari. The track had changed little from the 1950s, but speeds had increased, with a Ford GT40 reaching over 320 km per hour along the 6 kilometers of the Mulsanne Straight. 1964 was a classic example of this rivalry between Ford and Ferrari. The GT40s were flying, with the Ferraris of John Surtees and Lorenzo Bandini hot on their heels. One of the great Ford teams was Phil Hill and Bruce McLaren, who during the race were running as high as 5th. Nevertheless, the year belonged to Ferrari, with the winner, a 275p driven by Nino Vaccarella and Jean Guichet, with Hill and Bonnier second and Surtees and Bandini third. Victories such as this were significant to Ferrari in helping their road car sales. The old adage, win on Sunday, sell on Monday, was taken seriously by Ferrari. The GT40 has since gone down as a motoring icon, built purely to beat Ferrari and demonstrate that Ford could also build racing cars of the same caliber as the Europeans. In 2003, large crowds of spectators attended the opening day of the Goodwood Festival of Speed in Britain. The festival takes the form of a static display of racing cars and timed runs up the 1.16-mile hill climb course. This festival marked 100 years of Ford's history. Among the Ford display was, of course, the iconic and rare GT40 endurance sports cars. The GT40s were being specially featured, as Ford was introducing a new road car based on the classic racer. Another famous 24-hour race was the final year of the decade, 1969. Jackie Oliver is climbing into GT40 number 6. The Stommelen Ahrens Porsche had retired with a broken oil pipe and clutch. As the race wore on to 12 o'clock, Porsche had the race in its grip with the top 4 places. In came Oliver for Jackie Ickx to take over the final stint in the Ford. And then suddenly it was drama for Porsche. The 908 had a repeat of the clutch problem that put the Brian Redman and Joe Siffert car out. That left a battle between Hans Hermann and the Porsche and Jackie Ickx, one of the top Grand Prix drivers of the time, and possibly the best ever endurance driver, to fight it out over the last few laps. For a time, Hermann led, but on the final lap, Ickx found a way past. Eventually, in one of the greatest ever struggles seen at the famous track, it was Jackie Ickx who took the 1969 Le Mans race. Le Mans is also known for the worst accident in the history of motor racing. At the end of the season, having won world championships in Formula One and sports cars, Mercedes withdrew from motor racing generally and did not return until 1957. Today, the Mercedes marque is still sensitive to this 1955 Le Mans disaster, in which over 80 people were killed.
Yeah.